Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. And it's time to go back to Astro City. I'm very excited. I've waited a tasteful amount of time because I can't just do Astro City every day, even if I want to. But we're gonna go back. We're gonna look some more at the Samaritan because, well, whenever I look up Astro City, people are always like, the Samaritan, he's so boring. To which I say, how dare you? Although, yeah, I can see why you would think that, but I'm gonna tell you that that's all wrong. We've already done a vid on Astro City. I told you guys to check it out, so if you missed that video, of course, click the card or the link will be down below. Okay, so real talk about the Samaritan. He's not even the most frequently featured hero within Astro City as a universe, even though he is one of their premier tier, one of their trinity, as it were. I'm Sasha, and I like to spread a love of comics. Even if you don't end up liking the ones I do, that's absolutely fine. I just want to share them with you, and you can share some with me. I want people to know what a rich, vibrant medium comics is and what they have to offer. And if you feel like that too, hit that like button. So Astro City is a series about the city and the people in it, be they heroes, villains, civilians, whoever. It's not told in chronological order, but as it goes on, you get to piece together more and more details, and so you can build your own chronological roadmap, so you know what happened when. So basically, when certain characters show up, based on what's going on around them, you can kind of be like, oh, this is the Dark Age. They do have a Dark Age, and it's great. So we're gonna take a look at the Astro City Samaritan Special. 40 pages. Whew, 40 whole pages. And this is the issue that introduces the world to the Samaritan's arch enemy, the Infidel. It also introduces the world to the interesting relationship that they share, which is certainly unique. They have a really horrifyingly interconnected existence. It came down to a toss-up for me with which Samaritan story I had to tell you, because there was this one or the one where we went on a date with Winged Victory, their Wonder Woman kind of analogy. It's so good. The Honor Guard, aka the Not Justice League, set them up together because they're tired of both of them being too busy to ever do anything outside of superheroing. They have a terrible date. It's so good. But then I decided, you need to know about another date. You need to know about the Samaritan and the Infidel's yearly lunch/dinner date and how it came to be. But for all of this to make sense, I need to tell you a little bit about the Samaritan's origin. So the Samaritan is a Superman reconstruction rather than a deconstruction. A deconstruction takes a story or trope apart, but a reconstruction builds it back up. The strongest reconstructions have obviously thought about how the character could be deconstructed as well, and find ways to work that in a way that builds rather than disassembles. So the Samaritan arrives abruptly in Astro City, ending their Dark Age with his very presence and the actions he performs when he first arrives. He is their beacon hero. But where did he come from? Well, the Samaritan comes from the future. He's a man at a time. He specifically comes from a dystopian future. Well, I mean, obviously, why would you come back and change a good future? It was paradise. I need to change everything. He's a nobody, just a person selected for the mission of going back and saving the world, or at least changing it. In the process, he ends up supercharged with the energies utilized to send him back in time. He's transformed, which results in him having a much more spectacular public debut than planned, especially because he's late because he was learning how to control all these new abilities. He does a really public rescue, and when someone asks him who he is, he just says a good Samaritan, hence getting his name. So basically, he becomes a beloved hero by accident. His mission, however, was a success, something he knows, for when he went to revisit his time, it was gone, or rather remade. No one he knew was there, and he would never be. So there was nothing to do except to go back to Astro City and be their hero. A responsibility that, as you know if you watched our first video, he takes very, very seriously. Now, let's meet who hates him. The cover already shows you that he's awesome. His beard is green, you know we're in for a good time. The tale opens with narration that sets the stage, a myth that is set to reflect the relationship seen within. But it's long, so you'll have to read that for yourself. The Samaritan is flying towards a gorgeous palace, seemingly in another realm, because, well, it is. And then we get to see the two enemies coming face to face. The Samaritan brought wine. He's a good guest. I brought some wine. I hope it's good. I don't know that much about a Chateau Étrange, 1971. A delightful little jest, Asa. I founded those vineyards in the 14th century, but you knew that, of course. Actually, I had no idea. It just got a good write-up, so... Well, happy accident then. Come in, come. You would not think to observe us that we were bitter and implacable enemies, but
such we are.
Yes, this is a story from the villain's point of view. Also, yes, he just called the Samaritan by his first name. He knows who he is. Can't you feel it? The suspense building. Don't you need to know? Yes, the Samaritan's first name is Asa. What of it? So they're here to have dinner and seemingly catch up.
It looks amazing. Thank you. I cannot help from feeling pride at his reaction, and I chide myself for it.
So, who is this? Who is the infidel? Well, this is Kiyu, but nobody calls him that, and he doesn't call himself that either. He was born millennia ago, centuries, millennia, a long time ago in Nubia, which would eventually become Kenya. He is extremely intelligent and questioning from a very young age, a trait that ultimately gets him into trouble. He sets off on a quest for knowledge, and upon arriving in Zanzibar, he found himself traded by the locals as a slave. But still he sought knowledge, even after he was sold to Persia and found very cruel masters. While there, for questioning status quo, he was branded with the nickname the Infidel, a name that he would hear so often that he would grow to embrace it and take it on as his own name. His supervillain name, but he doesn't look at it that way. He's sold to an alchemist because basically they feel, oh well, pair the two crazy together. But there he learns that he has quite the aptitude for magic.
And while still a young man, I made my first great discovery. I drew down the energy of life from the cosmos itself and bathed in it, made myself immortal.
This also turned its hair green, cause green cosmic energy. The infidel would very quickly realize that he was immortal and decide to spend his time learning, separating himself from people, keeping himself distant, only interacting with them really to amass wealth or increase his own status. Over time, centuries, he begins making moves to become a master himself of all men. Also, he was experimenting on people, which I'm gonna highlight because he glosses over it, so hence the comic glosses over it, because to him it's just not a big deal at all. Not even worth mentioning. Half a sentence. But it's evil, so let's give it its due.
Infidel, unbeliever, I embrace their ignorant insult and wear it as a badge of honor. I believe in nothing but what I can see. I trust in nothing but what I can discover, what I can prove.
Eventually he learns how to contact the energy of the universe itself and uses it to time travel. Specifically, he goes through time and starts seeing all the disasters that men are going to create and have happen upon them as time goes on. All of this will lead him to a barren future, a wasteland. But he loves this wasteland and decides to make it his home, a true place of silence to study and learn. He goes around to all the disasters that he had seen and grabs people at the brink of death. He tells them they can either come with him or die. The price of their life? Servitude. Using these slaves, yes, that's what he calls them, he ends up creating a future for himself, a paradise in the wasteland. But then the Samaritan showed up. Sorta. The timeline that the Samaritan was fixing was tied to the one that the infidel was living in, the barren wasteland. Samaritans happens a bit before that. So when the Samaritan saved his world, he destroyed the infidels.
He had deliberately altered the natural path of events, and the changes rippled through time, preventing the ignorance-born catastrophes that had created the wasteland I found. The wasteland I had turned into my paradise.
So their battle begins. The infidel tries to go through time, influencing events to recreate his wasteland. But in doing so, he ends up clashing quite often with the Samaritan. And then he discovers what to him is something quite horrific. Him and the Samaritan are powered by the same energies. The same energies that made him immortal are the ones that allowed the Samaritan to go back in time and now charge his body. Hence, they are essentially evenly matched, even though the infidel is far smarter than the Samaritan is, and the Samaritan is far stronger than the infidel is. At dinner, the Samaritan is skeezed out by the topless serving girls and asks if the infidel has been taking in slaves again. But he says no, he made them. They're homunculi. Those are some of the nicest looking homunculi I've seen. I'm used to Full Metal Alchemist homunculi, people on backwards.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. With all due respect, Asa, you are a guest in my home. What furnishings I create to serve my needs and warm my nights are not subject to your approval. Were they mere robots created by science, you understand. Would you have similar unease?
The infidel feels that people can't truly learn, that they are naturally ignorant and hence need to be led, herded like sheep by a good master, who he feels that he is, a kindly shepherd. He feels this way because being immortal, he has observed that people don't live long enough to see the consequences of their actions generations down the line, and hence keep making the same mistakes over and over and over. He also believes that equality for all is a lie, a fake concept, such as true freedom, for he believes that no one is truly free, for no matter what, they are tied to the whims of destiny and time. The Infidel knows so much about the Samaritan, he knows who he's dating, by the way. He's all, so, how's it going? But with menace and the kind of asking that makes you feel like you need to go home and check if she's alive.
It is sad that you have so little time to enjoy one another. You could have more if I ruled the world. The chance to rest would be nice, but not at that cost. Dinner done, the two move on to brandy and cigars, cause they classy. And so we finally learn how they came to this point. After years and years of being evenly matched, of fighting these battles that have unmade reality over and over, eventually they destroyed it. They were there in a wasteland of their own making and just came to the realization that this would never end. The Samaritan had imprisoned the Infidel so many times, and every time he escaped, and the Infidel kept recreating reality. I really like the panel of Asa waking up Ginger and just going, oh, the Infidel messed up reality again. So the two realize standing there that they've reached a true impasse. They can't defeat each other. There's no point. The world will just be the two of them, sitting, staring at each other. So, even though they destroyed the universe, the two of them rebuild it together. The Infidel built the palace they're in, outside of time, and stayed there. But he still plots the Samaritan's demise, just as Asa is always looking for ways to depower him or hopefully entice him over to the side of good. They meet once a year to see if either is leaning more towards good or evil, as a partnership would be far more advantageous than another fight. They rotate who hosts it each year too, which leads to one of my favorite panels. The locations and cuisine he chooses can be unusual. Because as we established in our first discussion of Astro City, the Samaritan has no time and feels so guilty about taking time for himself to do anything that when he goes to meet the Infidel, he will sometimes just bring him fast food and fly to the middle of nowhere with like tacos. It's amazing. Well, I'd better go. Very well then. Let me ask you, are you ready to shed your pointless and regressive ethical bounds and really use your power, change the world? Thanks, but no. Are you ready to reform, to use your great mind to serve humanity? Not this year, I think. So they part, leaving the Infidel to review the tape of the evening because he filmed everything that happened. He's reviewing it half speed, 3/4 speed, all the speeds, and he thinks that he catches something. When he asked the Samaritan about remaking the world, but not ruling it, so just after, he started to say, if only, but stopped before and changed what he was going to say. At least that's what the Infidel sees, and he's thrilled. He feels that Asa is finally weakening, and maybe their standoff can come to a close. As for the Samaritan, what does he think? It went well, I think. Hard to tell with him. I might have made progress, and if I didn't, well, there's always next year, right? I love this story, and that doesn't mean that you have to too, but I'm gonna tell you why I like it. Some people say like, oh, there's nothing to talk about with a good comic, what can you say? I do not have that problem. Allow me to just gush. I love that it's told from the perspective of a villain in the way that a villain would tell it. Namely that he doesn't think that he's a villain, but he doesn't present it in a way where all the things sound overtly villainous either. It's not like, yes, I murder 10 people a day, but I'm in the right. If we were to pull out and get a bird's eye view, the Infidel is not exactly making the world a better place, but he never was. He was crafting his own paradise. I also love how he glosses over the atrocities he commits. He is unrepentant and locked in his worldview, and hence a perfect opponent for the Samaritan because they are directly philosophically opposed to one another. They share a fundamental disagreement that one of them will have to come over to the other side. They can't meet in the middle about this. This yearly dinner thing is as close to the middle as either of them can get. I love how much this story fleshes out the world of Astro City while also standing on its own. It details events that are known only to these two, but also help build up the entire world. Something that most residents in Astro City probably don't know. But we know, because we were special guests. Served by homunculi. I love the boldness of acknowledging that the Infidel's ancient worldview shapes how he interacts with people, as he has always been set apart, first by circumstance, later by choice. Slavery was a huge part and fact of the ancient world that is oftentimes glossed over for discussions of the more modern iterations, but it was a very real factor and would have played a part in that world. Humans as trade was very much a thing. Even the empire that he goes
introduced you for that time is accurate. Also, an empire that doesn't get talked about that much. Depending upon where you are in the world, all of this is relative. Depending upon where you are, it really determines what you hear about what. It's rare to see this type of history depicted, and it's also rare to have it factor into the person's character in such a fundamental way, one that makes sense and doesn't automatically change them for good. It's not lazy, is what I'm saying. The Infidel's life is presented, and he's not necessarily sympathetic, at least not to me, but you do you. What he is unique, and so is his relationship with the Samaritan. I read this comic probably once a year, just giving me enough time to forget some of the details so that it feels new again. It's always a good time. Though of course I acknowledge that it will not be for everyone. For some people, Astro City is just too disconnected. Everything seems to be happening in its own little bubble, and they don't feel like having to put a puzzle back together to figure out what's going on. Also, some genuinely do feel that the Samaritan is just boring and they don't care about his life or his adventures. So for some, this is just gonna be too isolated of an incident. And of course, the Infidel's not for everybody either. Woo, they met and had lunch. Big deal, I do that every day. Well, for me, it's a very big deal. This comic's an experience. I love this comic. Tell me about a comic you love down below. I'm Sasha, and thanks so much for watching Casually Comics. Please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for giving me some of your time, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.